Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good evening, dear students. Today we are going to discuss this part, concentrating on Plato, this Greek philosopher, on page number 92 of the civilization course we have for this semester. Plato, page number 92. It is widely acknowledged that the Greek philosopher Plato, that he laid the foundations, that he established the foundations of Western philosophy. The mathematician and philosopher Whitehead, he came before, or he existed before the appearance and the appearance of Plato. Whitehead stated that Western philosophy is a series of footnotes to Plato. And this, of course, refers to, or hints at, the greatest importance of Plato as a Greek philosopher. At the age of 20, like many of other young men in Athens, Plato fell under the spell, under the curse, under the influence of the controversial thinker, the disreputable at the time thinker and teacher Socrates, his own master, his teacher. You know that Socrates had Plato as his disciple, his student, and later on Plato mastered Aristotle. In a story later to be recounted in Plato's Apology, he wrote later on a book entitled Apology by Plato. In this book, Socrates had been hailed, had been saluted or considered to be by the oracle at Delphi. Who is the oracle at Delphi? She is the high priestess of the temple of Apollo at a place known as Delphi in ancient Greece. The oracle at Delphi, or the oracle of Delphi, is the highest of the supremest priestess of the temple of Apollo at Delphi. Who is Apollo? Apollo, of course, in ancient Greek mythology, is god of poetry and music. So Socrates had been known by this woman at the time as the wisest man alive. He devoted his life, Socrates, to the pursuit of knowledge, wisdom, and virtue. Knowledge, wisdom, and virtue. And these were the only available sciences or human sciences to be studied and developed by philosophers at the time. Using a dialectical method, it means a logical method of question and answer. Socrates uses a method based on this type of dialogue, a question asked by someone and an answer received by another. He would often arouse hostility. Socrates, by his answers, would often arouse hostility by deflating, by reducing the pretensions, the claims, the arrogance. Sometimes means the word pretensions, sometimes it means arrogance. So by reducing the claims or the arrogance of those who have claimed to be wise, and who professed to teach, who claimed, who pretended to be teachers, okay, who engages themselves in the process or in this field of teaching philosophy. He reduced their status, okay, he undermined their position, Socrates. A wide range of people, including rhetoricians, okay, those teachers of rhetoric, sometimes they mean orators, okay, rhetoricians, poets, politicians, and artisans. The artisans are artists. All of them, these people, came under his blade. They felt the razor edge, the dangerous position, his harshest criticism, okay? They were under his attack, under the attack of Socrates. They felt the razor edge of his intellect, of his mind, which undermined conventional views, those traditional views, okay, static in the minds of those teachers, conventional views of goodness and truth, regarding what are the fields in which they were debated or criticized, goodness and truth. Well, eventually he was tried. Socrates was tried, put to a trial, okay, on a charge of impiety, that he is impious, lacking reverence for gods, for the mythical gods of Greece at the time, okay, and condemned to death. He was put to death in 399 BC. So he was executed for reasons of impiety. After the death of his revered master, of his respected master, Plato eventually founded an academy, his own school, an academy in Athens. And now begins the age or the reign of this great philosopher, Plato. Most of Plato's philosophy is expounded, is explained in dialogue form. Okay? He wrote in this form, using this method, a dialogue between two persons, usually his master, his deceased master, Socrates, and himself, his disciple, Plato, a dialogue between both. Using a dialectical method, a logical method of pursuing truth, searching for truth, okay, by a systematic questioning, okay, of received ideas and opinions. So in his books, Socrates would suppose something, an idea or an opinion, and Plato begins asking questions about these ideas and opinions. Socrates is usually cast as the main speaker. In Plato's works, Socrates features as, okay, is chosen to be the main speaker, okay? The canon attributed to Plato includes 35 dialogues and 13 letters based on this method, using this technique, dialogue form, dialogue technique. The canon means the literary heritage of Plato, okay, is built upon this method, dialogue form, dialogue method. Number one, the early dialogues are devoted to what is the subject matter of these early dialogues, these early books. Their subject matter was exploring and defining concepts such as virtue, temperance, which means moderation or self-control, courage, piety, and justice. This is the first voluminous works dedicated to exploring such issues and subject matters. The major dialogues of Plato's middle period, this is number 2, and these were Gorgias. The titles are of these works, middle period works, are titled as Gorgias, Apology, Phaedo, Symposium, and the most important, the Republic. All of these move into the realms of epistemology. What is epistemology? It is a theory discussing the origins of knowledge. Epistemology is a theory discussing the origins of knowledge itself. Knowledge. Not only epistemology, of course. The middle period of his works didn't focus only on epistemology, no. More than that, he discussed metaphysics, علم ما وراء الطبيعة, political theory, and art. What unifies these various concerns is Plato's renowned theory of forms. Okay? The common ground of these different sciences, epistemology, metaphysics, political theory, and art, all of these share a common ground, which is his theory of forms. Underline this, very important. Plato's theory of forms. This theory, its major supposition or thesis, which sees the familiar world of objects, anything you see in the universe around you, everywhere, which have become familiar to you, which surrounds us, and which we perceive through our senses. Okay? He observes these familiar objects around us as not independent, meaning dependent, okay, or real. They are not independent and they are unreal, but as he believes, they are dependent upon another world, a more or a higher supreme world, which doesn't exist in reality. Okay? It is the realm of pure forms. Pure, underline pure forms. Forms that are void of any blemishes or faults. Okay? They are perfectness. They are pure forms or ideas, which can be known only by reason. These kind of pure forms can only be reached by reason, by the logic, okay, and not by our bodily sense perceptions. They cannot be grasped or seen or sensed by humans' senses or perceptions. They don't exist here. They are in a higher world, okay, maybe in the world of gods, mythical gods of Greece at the time. Plato said that the qualities, okay, of any object in the physical world, in our world, in the human world, the qualities of any object, anything, a tree, for example, a mountain, a building, whatever, a bed, okay, the qualities of any object in our physical world, these qualities are derived from the ideal forms, which exist in that unrealistic world, in the world of mythical gods. Okay, so these objects, these physical objects on earth are dependent, they depend upon the forms which exist in that unrealistic, imaginative world. Okay, the world of ideal, perfect forms. For example, he takes an example. An object in the physical world is beautiful if we consider that this object, whatever it might be, anything, a flower for example, we consider that this flower is beautiful because it partakes of the ideal form of beauty. It takes just a portion, a small thing, a portion, a sample, okay? It takes a portion, khisla, of the ideal form of beauty. The ideal form of beauty which doesn't exist on earth, okay? Which exists in the higher realm, the higher world of the gods. And so is tallness, okay? Equality or goodness. And by the way, tallness, equality, and goodness were the standard qualities of beauty at the time from the point of view of Plato and many other philosophers. These, tallness, equality, and goodness, which Plato sees as the highest of the forms, the highest ideas of the unreal forms which could be reached only by reason, logic. They are not real. Okay? The connection between the two realms, the two worlds, the world of the humans, in which we have these physical, impure forms, and the higher, the supremacist world of ideal forms. Okay? The connection between the two realms can best be illustrated, can be best discussed or eliminated or explained using examples from geometry. You know that geometry is the theory of engineering, علم الهندسة أو نظريات الهندسة. What would geometry assume or says or supposes? Any triangle, for example, a triangle or a square that we construct with our hands in this physical world using physical instruments, okay, like a ruler, for example, or anything, is bound to be imperfect. This triangle or square or circle, of course, the circle might be the most elaborate example, a circle. No human being can ever draw a circle that will be perfect with his bare hands or even with a tool. Okay? Is bound to be imperfect. It is doomed to be imperfect, lacking something, impure. At most, it can merely approximate the ideal triangle. Approach the ideal triangle, which is perfect and which is perceived not by the senses, our bodily senses, our physical senses in this world, cannot be grasped, cannot be understood. Okay? And which is perceived not by the senses but by reason, by logic. The ideal triangle, which doesn't exist here on earth, no, in the world of the ideal forms, the ideal triangle isn't a physical object but a concept. Remember that he mentioned a minute before that the ideal world is composed of ideal concepts, ideal ideas. Okay. an idea or a form. So, according to Plato, this world, the world of forms, being changeless, cannot be changed, it is always perfect, and eternal, perpetual. This world, this ideal world alone constitutes reality, constitutes alone reality. So reality doesn't exist on earth, it exists only in the world of the ideal forms. It is the world of essences, unity and universality, whereas the physical world of humans is characterized by perpetual change. It is ever changing, not stable. Perpetual change and decay, destruction, mere existence, multiplicity, variety, and particularity. It means meticulousness, دقة شديدة, strictness. A central function of the theory of forms is to unify groups of objects or concepts in the world by treating them as belonging to a class, by referring them back to a common essence, to a common center which exists in the world of the ideal forms, and thereby making sense of our our countless, diverse experiences. A renowned expression of Plato theory occurs in the 7th book. This idea appears, he wrote about this in his 7th book of the Republic, belonging to this volume known as the Republic, where he recounts the myth of the cave, a very famous, well-known myth he recounts, he tells the reader about, is found in his book, The Republic. This myth is the myth of the cave. Imagine yourself in a cave where people have lived all their lives, watching shadows of reality. They are in a cave, watching shadows, not reality, but shadows of reality, ghosts of reality, cast by a fire. There is a fire in this cave, and there are some people. He sets an example to you, just to make sure that you understand the idea of this ideal world of forms and our physical world of imperfect or unideal forms. Imagine yourself inside a cave, and there is a fire that sets the place alight, and there are some people who face a wall inside the cave, of course, and they watch their shadows of reality. Throughout their lives, throughout their entire lives, they watch shadows of reality. They imagine, they believe that what they see in this world, in this cave, are real, but these objects in this cave are not. These objects in the world are not. They are not real. They are shadows of reality, with their backs to the true light of the sun. They don't recognize that the sun is just behind them. Reality is just behind. Plato makes it clear that the cave in which men are imprisoned, inside this cave, this cave represents the physical world, our world, human world, and that the journey toward the light of the sun, of course, our lives, is the soul's ascension, the soul's to ascend, to rise unto another higher level, is the soul's ascension to the world of forms, to the world of ideal forms. He means that we spent our entire lives believing that what we see in the world, in nature, is real, while it is not. Okay? Thank you, and see you next lecture, inshallah.